Lava, chicken, Steve, lava chicken. Now I'm having a snack. I don't have a capo. No. Oh yeah, hand me that capo. What's up, everyone? Happy Saturday. Matt, that was Matt with a special appearance.
What up?
Lava, chicken, Steve, lava chicken. Now I'm having a snack. Oh, mama, see the of course, it's the Lava Minecraft song that's my highest viewed new video of all time. No. I shouldn't be too surprised by that. Anyway, yeah, Saturday live stream, 1 o'clock Pacific time. This topic, it's a video, I think I might have talked about it last Saturday. I'm going to talk about it again, though, because I think it's such a good topic, and I did my event at Gibson Garage yesterday in Nashville, Tennessee. Shout out to Gibson for having a great partnership with me and all the people, family, Gibson family over there. About every 6 weeks I do a live event, and so the one yesterday went really, really well. And there was people can come up and play with me in a band and get a feel for either learning something or what it feels like to play with a band. And so this one guy that showed up, he had the classic dad Hawaiian shirt on. It was very dad vibes. I'm a dad too, so it's not a critique. But it was like full dad. He was in full dad, guitar dad mode. And he got to go up there and he was like, he had seen a promotion for the event and he thought it was more of a guitar clinic. But then he came up and he sung With or Without You by U2. And it's funny about that is, it's she got me, right? And you give yourself away. And so as we're playing it, and he's doing great, it occurs to me as we're doing that first verse that the next verse and chorus is an octave higher, with or without you. like really high, and I was like, it hit me. I was like, oh man, it's gonna come to that other part. What is this dad gonna do? And we got to that part, and did pretty good.
He did good.
He did pretty good. We had the audience, sing along, whatever. But he thought it was a guitar clinic, and he said that he knew chords but didn't, play great lead guitar. And so I thought, oh, that's a good opportunity for this little lesson here. So I'm going to loop a little E blues real quick and then just talk about that concept. And then once that, I'll go through that concept, then I'll take some questions. And then, once we've covered about a half hour of that concept, lead guitar, then I'll just let it be a free form. You guys can talk about whatever you want or ask questions, whatever. Appreciate you coming by. I've also got my old friend Bob here in the background. Shout out to Bob. Bob Bain. I'm just gonna expose his full name. But actually, he's a great photographer. He photographs a lot of bands. He's based in Memphis, but he's in town because he's taking me to Widespread Panic tonight. So I have to pace myself here, Matt. We've got Matt and Bob, so I have a full live audience here in the TED Talk. Okay, so E blues. I don't want to do it too fast. So that's the loop. For lead guitar, something that so many artists, including myself, did was you get bogged down with trying to learn too many scale shapes, like the 5 shapes of the minor pentatonic or the blues run, and you get carried away with not understanding that your feel and your rhythm should take precedent to all this of getting bogged down with scales. Is it great to learn the pentatonic scale? Yes. Is it great to learn, the blues scale, the blues runs, the different shapes, the major pentatonic, all of that? Yes, it's valuable. But don't put the cart before the horse. Is that the right term? Mm-hmm. You say little analogies wrong a lot. I think that
makes sense to me.
I think that one's right. Don't put the cart before the horse. That sound right, Bob?
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. And so here's what I mean by that. Yes, Aaron Paulson, huge shout out. We've had a lot of fun hanging out. We made some fun videos. Hopefully we'll do some more. Okay, so that's the key of E. And yes, there's scales all over the place. But if you just limit yourself to just one note to start with, then all you're left with is your rhythm and your dynamics and your feel. And so you can do, I'm going to just play the open high E string. That's the root of the key of E. Yes, the Wonderwall video with Aaron. Yeah, remind me, I'll talk about that again. But so open high E, what can you do when you only have one note? You don't have scales now to be bogged down with. You have dynamics, which is how loud and soft. Palm muting, right? How long the note rings out, or right, or somewhere in between, like that, And so now, ultimately, it's all rhythm and feel, and also the space you leave in between. Steve's lava chicken, now we're having a snack. Lava. Okay, back to the open high E. try that loop again. It's live, folks. Looper malfunction. Not my best angle. You look great. Alright, sometimes the looper goes into some weird function that I don't understand. So, very technical thing to do with the looper when it's malfunctioning like that. It's tricky, so you guys get your papers out, pens and pencils out, and your notepad, so I can give you all the different steps you have to fix the looper when it's malfunctioning like that. Unplug it, and then plug it back in. All right, let me try that one more time. 1, 2, try that again. Dynamics, how loud, how soft, how much space I leave between, which creates rhythm, how long I let the note ring out, all of those elements. How to think one thing about a scale. Doesn't mean you don't need to learn the scales. It means, though, that nothing's going to be better than the feel and the rhythm first. And I've used these examples before. Kurt Cobain and Neil Young, kind of two sides of a spectrum. Neil Young being the classic rock, where Kurt Cobain, well, it's all classic rock now, but Kurt Cobain being more 90s alternative rock. They both could do a guitar solo. It's like the anti-solo, but they had so much feel and emotion behind it that was really, really powerful. Kurt Cobain didn't know the names of the notes. He didn't know the names of the chords he was playing. When Neil Young, he could maybe take a solo here and there, and he knew the basic notes and the chords and stuff. But there's those classic Neil Young solos where he's just cranked all the way up, and he's got his tremolo bar, and he's not even like on any note. He's just like doing a noise solo. And Kurt Cobain, the same thing. In fact, there's a couple of Kurt Cobain solos that people have requested that I teach, and I have no way to teach them because there is no way to like translate it or transcribe it, because it's just like fuzz and noise, but done so well. And also he had some that were maybe in between. So I just don't want you to get bogged down with thinking about all the scale stuff. Now check this out. I'm going to just add one note, and so I'll have the open high E, and then I'm going to add the 3rd fret high E. Now we have 2 notes to choose from, so it's like a 2-note scale, because the scale is the pool of notes that you have to use. So it's a 2-note scale, and it opens up a lot more options. Now I've been playing for over 30 years, so I could take 2 notes and make it more musical than that dad could yesterday. but he totally got it and tried it in front of an audience, and it worked. It worked. So here's the 2-note solo. So the open high E and the 3rd fret. Check it out. Let me get an amen if you understand what I'm talking about in the comments, or just let me know that you get what I'm doing there. And right, well, we can do 3 notes. 3-note. Let's go to a different spot here. Let's go to the that same note, which is the root, meaning we're in the key of E, and the root note would be an E note. So if I play the 14th fret D string, it's the same note. Now, because it's the D string, it's a wound string, it's a thicker string, so the tone is different, but it's actually the exact same frequency. It's vibrating the exact same amount of times as the open high E. So let's do a different 2-note solo. We're going to do the note below it, which I couldn't do with the open high E. So we have the 12th fret is the note, scale note below it of the blues scale, pentatonic scale. Like that. Bob, are you getting this?
Yeah.
Because Bob plays guitar. Bob, who's here right now, and Bob's from Memphis, so he has a deep affinity for music. I just shot a video with Robert Randolph here this week. Robert Randolph, he's amazing. And it was, actually, Bob, it was 24 years ago that The Word came out, the album The Word. And so this was a little, I mean, the internet existed, but we weren't using the internet like we were even 5 years later. So my friend Bob here was a friend of mine whose music tastes gelled with mine as well. And we actually met as 20-year-olds backpacking through Europe at a youth hostel in Germany.
30 years ago.
30 years ago. This summer, 30 years ago. And I was playing guitar in the room. I was playing Blues Traveler, and he popped his head in. He was like just looking for some like-minded people. So we've been friends ever since. And I was at the beginning of my guitar journey then. So that was fun. But Bob, when Robert Randolph first became secular, meaning he had only grew up playing in the church scene, this sacred steel music, and he made this album with North Mississippi All-Stars and John Medeski called The Word, and it really put sacred steel on the mainstream map. And my friend Bob, who's to my left here, he's the one that first told me about it right when it came out. I think I was visiting you when you told me, because you were playing it in your car, I think. That's what I think. When I went and visited you in Memphis, like, so long ago.
That was in 99, I think.
Okay. Well, maybe I was on tour.
Maybe so.
Yeah, but anyway, you played it for me, and that's the first I heard it. And so then cut to now, 25 years later, Robert Randolph was sitting here in the room with me, and we were jamming. Not only that, but Robert Randolph was super familiar with all of my stuff. So, like, it really was this great full circle moment for me. And I also gave Bob a shout out in that video. That video is not out yet. It's going to be a month or two before that comes out. Someone else I had in here which was really cool, was Dave Stewart from the Eurythmics. He was in here. That was wild. That was wild. Okay, so here's the 2-note solo. 12 to 14 on the D string. So that's another exercise. Now I'm going to do the 3-note solo. So 12 on the D, 14 on the D, and then 12 on the G, which would be the equivalent of this. So same notes in a different spot. Another real quick just anecdote that was fun about yesterday at my Gibson Garage event was people sign up and they come up and can play. There was a guy that came up and he was really good. He could sing, he could play guitar, he could do the lead guitar, he had a great voice. He's a professional musician now. And this is happening to me more often nowadays. And it's I get a kick out of it. But he looked like a full-grown adult. He was married. He had a little goatee with a little bit of gray coming in, so he wasn't fully middle-aged like me, but like a grown man, married, professional musician, gigging, everything, right? And we finished playing. I was like, dude, that was awesome. You're so great. And he was like, this was amazing for me. I learned guitar from you when I was a little kid on YouTube. And so the trip out for me now is that these guys look like full-grown men, and they're saying to me that they were like little kids. And it reminds me that I'm older now, which I'm not digging on. I'm not depressed about that at all, because I've been able to like help people like that, everything. But it's just this new thing for me, where they look like grown men, or they look like the age I feel I still am.
Yeah.
But then they say, yeah, I was like, he was like, I was 12 years old, watching YouTube, learning guitar from you. And I was just like, oh my God, it's really insane. Okay, so now we're going to do the 3-note solo. 12th fret D, 14th fret D. And also now when you're, not using open strings, you've got little micro bends like and vibrato. B.B. King could sit on one note with that vibrato and just make people cry. He could make 5 to 20 of his baby mamas cry with one note. Depending on what area on the circuit he was. Okay, so 12 on the D, 14 on the D, and then 12 on the G. So now you're just having to be on more than one string. Josh Norco with the super chat. Josh Norco, thank you, man. We're gonna buy a 1-pack of eggs, a single egg, a grocery store single egg for $19.99. Man, thank you, appreciate that. It'd be a half egg if they could do it, but they haven't invented that technology yet. Okay, so the 3-note solo, and I recommend you doing this. And if you're not good at rhythm enough to play your own loop on a looper pedal rhythm, it's so easy. It's never been easier to like go on a streaming site or go on YouTube and just type in, blues backing track, key of E. I mean, we can do this in other keys as well. But so 12, 14 on the D, and then 12 on the G. And with those 3 notes, you can make now we can really make an impactful solo. Here's the 3-note solo starting now. And even cooler, little Eric Krasno signature, play a couple licks of your solo before the one of the incoming track. So. this. The 4-note solo. 4 notes. It's one more than 3 now, isn't it? See, on Tuesday, it's Tuesday. You're playing a songa on a Tuesday in Manchester. And where do you go from there? Note solo. Well, you express yourself in the 4-note solo. People in England are really watching this and going, wow, what's going on here? Turn the channel. Yeah, see, I just lost 100 viewers. It was worth it. It was worth it. 12-14 on the D, 12-14 on the G. But then what's really great is when you get to that, only certain spots are great for like bending. Like you can't bend the root, it'll sound bad. Which I've seen, I've taught thousands of guitar lessons even before the internet. I was a full-time guitar teacher, and this is a beginner solo sound. Want to avoid that if you can, and you should be able to have your ear hear that that doesn't sound right. Okay, so 12-14 on the D, 12-14 on the G, but 14th fret G, what's great about that is any bend on that string is going to sound pretty bluesy. Like if you're trying to bend up a whole step and you don't get there, you're bending it a half step or even in between, and it's right in that, what's called the blues note. That kind of crying sound. That too. So I am not doing anything about none of that stuff that you think you need to do to be able to solo. Instead, I'm way more focused on the rhythm and the feel, the emotion, the space in between, the dynamics, which is how loud, how quiet, the rhythm, leaving space in between. And I'm just on 2 strings, 12-14 on the D, 12-14 on the G, but then messing around with bending now and vibrato. And shout out again to Eric Krasno. I'm going to start the solo before the rhythm starts, so a couple of licks lead in to the track. Here we go. When people are starting out soloing, actually, even myself, when I have a lot of, I'm sitting in with some band and I get one song to sit in and people are screaming and it's packed and you get that rush of adrenaline, it's hard to actually leave space. So I'm going to really emphasize now the 4-note solo. I'm going to really leave a lot of space, and it creates a much more lyrical solo. So here's one with a lot of space. understood that concept, and you do want to, every once in a while, don't forget to go back to the one note solo. So you're thinking about your feel, your dynamics, your rhythm, and your emotional expression instead of running up and down the scale, right? So let's talk about, though, what you can do. You know, there's this classic, it's all over my courses at martymusic.com. But the ultimate E blues run. Let's talk about that for a second. This is the opposite of the concept because there's now a bunch of notes. This will almost get you up and down the entire neck with one device, specifically for the key of E. So you got the open E. Sorry, a little ADD of me. I just couldn't help it. Such a fun, easy little, that's creativity, right? So easy. Okay, Ultimate E Blues Run. Sorry, Ultimate E Blues Run. Minecraft movie? Familiar with that at all? There's like songs that are going viral.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Jack Black. Yeah. My buddy Jack. Open E. 3rd fret. 5th fret. 7th fret. Megan Weiler says, what are the dots on the fretboards for? It's a great question. If I'm learning this thing I'm showing right now, they're little markers. It'll help me visually memorize this easier because I'm now referencing the chicken jockey on the nets. I'm just reading out loud what people are typing. That's all I'm doing. No, but it helps you memorize. For instance, if I am trying to learn the notes on the neck, which is a valuable thing, it's not more important than feeling and emotional content and rhythm and all the stuff. But if I'm trying to remember that the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th fret is an A note, because crossroads is an A, and that's where I plug in this. Then I can start to memorize that the second dot is always an A note on the E string. So I hope that makes sense. Chicken jockey. Okay. Ultimate E blues run. Open E, 3rd fret, 5th fret, 7th fret, and then on the A string 5, 7, and then on the D string 5, 7. So if I go up or down that, it sounds like a solo. Now I go up a whole step to 9. So that's the 9th fret D string. Then I have 7, 9 on the G. So then I go to, Angus Young used this a lot. In fact, he went. Different tone, but he's using that scale a lot. So then we have you have to do a little finger switch, and you're 8, 10 on the B string. Any part of this you can try the 1 note or 2 note solo or 3 note solo and then branch out. You want to keep going back to that idea, I think. To really play a solo as quick as possible. These are the concepts. Don't get bogged down with scales. So then we have 10 to 12 on the high E. So I go back down that thing. started on the open E, ended up on the 12th fret high E. And when you get finally to that 12th fret high E, you now have the home row pentatonic that we did earlier. So that's one device. I call it the ultimate E run. You can look it up on YouTube and you'll see me up there somewhere. So then the other run has the E root run. And so that would look like this. I'm not going to frets or whatever. Frets are the note names, but so between those two devices, you're going all the way up to here. So you have a path to play up and down the entire neck in the key V with only two devices. Let's see. Let's change it up rhythmically here, rhythm tracks. Donna Lee, not today. So I already went 10 minutes past the concept teaching part. So this is the part where I'm just going to leave at any time that I feel like leaving. Sometimes, I mean, I don't know, man. We went almost 90 minutes once.
Mm-hmm.
That's not today. It's definitely not today.
Got to see Jimmy Herring.
Yeah, actually, huge shout out. You know, I'm going to see Widespread Panic later tonight at Ascend Amphitheater. But Jimmy Herring is the guitar player in Widespread Panic now. He's not the original. Hauser, rest in peace, Mike Hauser, right?
Yep.
He had a nickname. Did they call him something?
Mikey.
Mikey.
Panic. Yeah.
He was Panic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, rock and roll goes on long enough. They lose some soldiers along the way. But Jimmy Herring's been with them for a long time. And he's just a ripping guitar player. Psychedelic Sasquatch. I love that name. Really has a good ring to it. Just ripping guitar player. Can do jazz, can do rock. He can do it all. And he's also a really nice, sweet guy. I'm not like good friends with him, but I have met him, and he was always a super gentleman, southern gentleman. So I can't say enough great things about him. He can kind of run circles around most guitar players, like technically, which can actually be one of his weaknesses because he's so good. If he gets bored up there, then he's like, oh, I'm just gonna shred now. But no, he's absolutely insane. I'll throw a. Feel free to ask me any questions or anything. Oh, that's not a bad idea. I might do that. So, but one real quick story. This guitar player's name's Jimmy Herring. You can look him up. There was this band that didn't, some of those like most legendary bands are the ones that like didn't break it big, didn't become super famous, but led to all these other things happening, like the Quarrymen. But there was a band called Colonel Bruce Hampton and the Aquarium Rescue Unit, and Jimmy Herring and O'Teal, who's now in Dead and Company, played in the Allman Brothers. He's done so many things. O'Teal Burbridge is the bass player, but in Colonel Bruce Hampton Rescue Unit had O'Teal and Jimmy Herring, and this cosmic poetic guru named Colonel Bruce Hampton. And they just never blew up super big, but they had a ripple effect on all these musicians, including Derek Trucks and Blues Traveler, Widespread Panic now because Jimmy Herring's in that, Allman Brothers because O'Teal Burbridge is in that, all the offshoots of the Grateful Dead because O'Teal Burbridge is in that. But also they influenced, psychologically influenced and artistically influenced pretty much every musician that's related into that rock world from the last 30 years. But yet they never really blew up big. It's kind of cooler because it makes them kind of like legendary. Like all the musicians I know, like you can talk about Colonel Bruce Hampton and the Aquarium Rescue Unit, like if you're a musician like me, and everybody, you can have very long conversations about that.
Just thought of another episode for the podcast is
Bruce
Hampton.
Something weird about Bruce Hampton, like people swear by this because he died a few years ago on stage. It was his birthday gig, right?
And the encore.
The encore of a birthday gig. And plus he would play pranks and he would kind of play around with people, and he was like a humorous kind of comedian in many ways, but like a mystic, like O'Teal.
Guess your birthday.
Yeah, like O'Teal Burbridge swears that like came up to Colonel Bruce Hampton, he could tell you your birthday on the dot and tell you like your sign, your like, and he would always be able to do it. It doesn't matter if that's 100% accurate or not because it's never going to be proven anymore. But he was like this kind of psychic, mythical guy. And so he's doing this birthday gig a few years back, and John Popper's on stage. Brandon Niederauer, who goes by Taz, he was a little kid at the time. He was on stage. He was affected forever by that. But it was all these like kind of like
so many people.
It was like this all-star event, and they're doing the encore. So everybody is up there, and they're playing, and he falls over and just drops dead on stage at his own birthday gig in the encore. Just falls over, drops dead, and everyone starts laughing because it was the little kid. Brandon was just ripping a solo, and so everyone just assumed he was like clowning around that like the kid's soloist like made him pass out or whatever. So it took like a couple minutes where he didn't get up, and people were like, "What's going on?" And they came up. Herring was in that original band with Colonel Bruce, and Jimmy Herring was in a Dead. He had played with Allman Brothers for a minute. But then he did play in The Dead, right? So when Jerry Garcia died, the other living members of the Grateful Dead had all these different versions. Further was one of them. The Dead, Dead and Company. There's those are the ones that pop into my head. But The Dead had Warren Haynes and Jimmy Herring in it, and I saw that, and that had Phil Lesh and Bob Weir and Kreutzmann. So it had all the living members, and then those two guitar players, Warren Haynes and Jimmy Herring. But real quick, Jimmy Herring also played for a second in a thing called Jazz is Dead, which was all these well-known jazz fusion musicians. A lot of musicians I know don't like Jazz is Dead. It's too jazzy and fusiony, but that's what they were. They was fusion musicians doing their style of jazz fusion, but Grateful Dead material. So if you were into, it was an interesting melding of two things. But Jimmy Herring was in that, and my friend Brent, who I don't play that many gigs anymore, but my friend Brent, who's an organ keyboard player that I played with for many, many years, we had a gig where we opened for Jazz is Dead. And this is before the internet. I'm just a struggling, giggy musician, guitar teacher. And we opened for Jazz is Dead. People didn't really care about us. Luster response from the audience. Tiny little club. But my friend Brent, he's one of those organ enthusiasts. In other words, he wouldn't bring one of the like a Nord keyboard that had like perfectly authentic organ sampled tones in it, like someone would do. He had to bring his real B3 to an opening gig. And to do that, I know guys like this, but Brent is one of them. He would bring a U-Haul trailer with his organ and the whole like dolly system of like getting it out of the trailer, rolling it down the thing. Like it was important to him, to use a real organ for the gig. And the trailer hitch broke at this gig. We were opening for Jazz is Dead with Jimmy Herring on guitar. The trailer hitch broke for Brent's organ, and he couldn't fix it. And Jimmy Herring came out and fixed the trailer hitch. Legend, right? It's a great story, huh? It's a true story, also.
He looks like he could. He looks like
right. He looks like if you saw him, you're like, wait, you're telling me that guy's like jazz master ripping like psychedelic everything, like one of the best guitar players technically you'll ever hear. You're telling me that guy, the guy that's about to fix my refrigerator? Actually, it's funny. I use fixed refrigerator very specifically because to even carry on the legend of Colonel Bruce Hampton and the Aquarium Rescue Unit, they only did one studio album, and it was called Mirrors of Embarrassment. And if you want to hear, it's on streaming. If you want to hear just absolutely ferociously scary guitar playing, check out Colonel Bruce Hampton and the Aquarium Rescue Unit, Mirrors of Embarrassment, and just pop on any song and listen to the guitar playing. And so that's who's now in Widespread Panic, who also fixed the trailer hitch. But that original lineup that didn't really make it anywhere, they had this mandolin player who played like electric mandolin. He sung some of the songs. His name is Matt Mundy. But I remember a few years after I'd first seen Aquarium Rescue Unit, they played a gig again somewhere else, opening for someone else. They never really could like blow up on their own. They were too weird, honestly, too musician-y, too weird, just kind of a strange band. But musicians loved them. And so I went and saw them again. And, no one really, they were opening for someone and it was not even a perfect fit. Might have been Bruce Hornsby or something like that. And so they finished the set and like no one cares about them at all. And so I'd like walked right up to the stage and meanwhile, I'm just a kid that's like trying to get good at guitar. I'm not, no YouTube, no internet or anything like that. I'm just a music fan playing in my own bands, trying to get better. I was wishing I could be even 10% as good as Jimmy Herring. And so I was like, yo, Jimmy, what's up? Jimmy Herring. And I was the only one that knew who Jimmy Herring was in that whole place. So he was happy to like probably come up and talk to me. It was like no one. It was like one of those crickets set. You know, you're playing, it's just like crickets, and you're like ripping solos, and like no one cares. And so what I really want to do is I noticed that I wanted to be like, dude, you're one of my favorite guitar players. That'd be so awesome. You know, I was trying to give him some like, and people have done that to me now in my life, and I appreciate that. So I was, you know, he was one of my heroes, and no one else cared. So I came up to him, and I was like, Jimmy, what's up, man? What's up? And I wanted to talk about like who I thought his influences were that I could hear. He said his number one was Jeff Beck, actually. You don't always sound exactly like your favorite guitar player. Good thing. But I was like, the Matt Mundy, the mandolin player, he wasn't playing. And I had no concept of like musicians making a living. You know, if you were opening for Bruce Hornsby, I thought you were doing pretty well. You're playing in this like, you know, 5,000 seat amphitheater. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, you're crushing it, you know. I wish I could do that. So I was like, hey, you know, talking to him, I was like, oh, real quick, I was like, where's Matt Mundy? That guy's so amazing, you know. And he was like, oh man, he's like refrigerator repairman. Like, you know, he didn't want to be on the road. He was very disenchanted, and you know, he's not playing music at all. And then there's like more legend. Like he like threw his mandolin out the window or something.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, and that's no diss on a refrigerator repairman. I mean, honestly, that's probably a really great job, especially compared to a musician. Just musicians look cooler. Cooler. Refrigerator reference. Didn't mean to do that. But anyway, there's a story in that. And I remember being young and being like shocked. Audio bad? It could be freezing up. Anyway, can you still hear me? Let's see. I can't scroll because I'm watching a monitor. Someone said I learned On the Hunt from Marty. That's Skinnerd. Another fun story in Alabama. There's a restaurant that Decatur. Is that how you say it? Decatur.
I think so.
Decatur, Alabama.
Decatur, Alabama. Restaurant in Decatur, Alabama. Someone sent me a picture of the restaurant, and they had a bunch of different pictures up on the wall. And there was a picture of me from one of my videos, and it's the same outfit I'm wearing in my Sweet Home Alabama lesson because I had to like figure out what the hell is going on. I can't like, you know, go show it to you right now through this live stream. Basically, it's a picture of me that they screenshot and printed out like photograph style, and I'm in the same outfit as Sweet Home. Anyway, I reverse engineered the story in my own mind. I don't know if it's true or not. But anyway, just think of a restaurant in Decatur, Alabama. So it's Alabama, and there's a picture of me, and they have other pictures of like Alabama stuff, like musicians and like just Alabama stuff, eclectic, not just music, like just Alabama stuff everywhere. A photograph of me. Well, it was a good story to end on. I mean, it's here. I think we're back. Is it better? Not on that end. Anyway. Oh, someone says that's better.
Nope.
Froze again. All right, well, we'll just leave him hanging. Oh, it's doing one of the things where you can't close it. That happens sometimes. The YouTube's deciding that I can never stop live streaming ever again. The rest of my life is all one live stream now.
The room tour while you.
Yeah. You guys can hear me? Can you guys hear me? I tried to turn it off and it won't let me. I'm back. Yeah. Okay, real quick. Here I am. Much more clinical looking, you know, from the other end, right? Room tour, yeah. Let's. Okay, so I'm not gonna show you guys, but check it out. There's a stairway here. That's my house. It's my neighbor. So check it out. This is that's another neighbor. This is a garage here. So I was up there in that room. Look at that. You guys like that? That's pretty sick, huh? Not bad. This is Nashville, Tennessee, actually. This is not San Diego. I split my time between San Diego and Nashville, but I'm doing most of my work in Nashville these days. I can switch, see? I'm gonna flip again. So this is it's my reflection. So I get to leave the house and then come in here, and it's like going to work, you know, but I don't have to drive anywhere. I just walk across this little area here, come inside here. You got the like green screen for all the stupid green screen videos I do. And this is the junk. This is the junk drawer, but check this out. Little Marty music T-shirt, Grateful Dead logo. So this is the junk area, but there's a lot of things that we need access to. I get help filming when I do my song lessons and song tutorials that are just easy. I shoot those by myself, and then when I do interviews or green screen stuff, I have help. I do not edit my own videos anymore. Okay, so this right here, not fancy, but it's a sound blanket to help with the reverberation. That's another sound blanket right there. Another sound blanket right there. Okay, there he is.